You are floating on the surface of the ocean, arms folded under your chin, legs hanging down into water you cannot see the bottom of. The sun is warm on your back. And somewhere beneath your feet in the blue, something large has just noticed you. It is rising, slowly, lining up the shape of you against the bright ceiling of the surface. In a few seconds it will be close enough to touch, and almost everything you believe about what it wants is wrong. On the 8th of December 1963, a young spearfisherman named Rodney Fox was in the water off Aldinga Beach, south of Adelaide, defending his championship title. He was lining up a fish, finger on the trigger, when something struck him in the chest with the force of a train. For a moment his mind refused it. You cannot be hit by a train underwater. Then he understood. He was inside the mouth of a great white, roughly 15 feet of it, and it was carrying him through the sea. He did the only thing left to do. He reached for its face and clawed at its eyes. The jaws opened, and Rodney pushed up through a cloud of his own blood toward the light. Ahead of him lay 462 stitches, broken ribs, a punctured lung, and a shark tooth that would stay buried in his wrist for the rest of his life. But he was alive. And the reason he was alive is the strangest part of all. The most powerful predator in that ocean had a defenseless man held in its jaws and chose to let go. That single decision, made by an animal with a brain the size of your fist, is the thread we are about to pull. Because here is what should stop you cold. In an average year, sharks kill fewer than 10 people on the entire planet. In that same year, humans kill around 100 million sharks. The question of who is hunting whom is not even close. So why did that shark bite at all? For decades, the honest answer was a shrug. Then, in 2021, a team at Macquarie University in Sydney found a way to see the ocean the way a shark sees it. Led by a researcher named Laura Ryan, who, for the record, still surfs, they filmed seals, sea lions, and people swimming and paddling surfboards in a huge tank at Taronga Zoo. Then they ran that footage through a model of a young great white's eyesight. What came back was deeply unsettling. A great white cannot make out fine detail. It is almost certainly colorblind. From below, looking up at the glowing surface, what it sees is a dark silhouette and a rhythm of movement. And a person lying on a surfboard paddling with their arms is, to that shark's eyes, very nearly identical to a seal. Read that again. The shark is not choosing you. It is mistaking you. And it goes somewhere stranger than a simple mix-up. You would assume the largest, oldest sharks are the most dangerous. The opposite is true. Younger white sharks are involved in more bites on people. And the Macquarie team suspects it is partly because their eyesight is even poorer, and because they are still learning what counts as food. A white shark is not born knowing a seal from a surfboard. It has to learn, the way you once had to work out which things in the world were safe to put in your mouth. Until it reaches around 8 feet long, its diet is shifting from fish toward seals, and it is essentially a teenager testing the menu with the only instrument it owns. Because a shark has no hands. It cannot lift something, turn it over, feel its weight to know what it is. Its mouth is its hand. When it meets something unfamiliar, the way it asks what are you is to close its teeth around the thing. Scientists call it an exploratory bite, and most bites on humans are exactly that, a question. Not a verdict. When the answer comes back, the shark is usually disappointed. A seal is a dense parcel of blubber, fatty and rich, the precise high-calorie meal a hunting white shark is built around. You are not, you are lean and bony and wrapped in neoprene. One likely reason so many people survive a bite is that the instant the shark registers the difference, it understands the error and it lets go. Which is exactly what released Rodney Fox back to the surface. Here is what makes Fox extraordinary. After all of that, the broken ribs and the 462 stitches, he did not spend his life hating the animal that nearly killed him. He went back. He built the first underwater cage to film great whites up close, and what he saw changed him. The monster he had braced himself for was not there. In its place was a cautious, almost shy creature that circled the bait and hesitated, and would usually rather avoid him than touch him. The man who survived one of the worst bites in recorded history spent the next 60 years trying to protect the species that did it. The mistaken identity idea turned out to be so solid that by 2024, the same Macquarie lab was testing a strange fix. They rigged lights beneath surfboards to break up that telltale silhouette, and in trials it made great whites far less likely to strike. Think about what that proves. If a light show can switch off the danger, then the bite was never about appetite. It was always about appearance. Maybe you are thinking this is a comforting story we tell ourselves, and that the families of the people who did not survive would disagree. They would, The danger is real, the grief is real. And pretending otherwise would dishonor them, but look closely at what actually does the killing. A great white's exploratory bite is gentle by its own standards, and still devastating, because those standards involve jaws that close with thousands of pounds of force. A creature built to kill a seal in a single strike does not need to want your death to cause it. Sit with that distinction because it changes the whole picture. The horror is not that sharks hunt us. It is that one curious question, asked by a predator that enormous can be fatal entirely by accident. So if you're not prey, what are you to a shark? Mostly a confusing shape it would rather leave alone. A shark reads the sea through senses you will never have. It smells faint traces of blood across enormous distances. Through jelly-filled pores in its snout, it feels the tiny electric fields thrown off by every living muscle, the twitch of a fin, the beat of a heart. To that map of the world you are a smudge, loud, unfamiliar, and shaped just a little too much like dinner when seen from below. And these animals have been reading that map for an almost unimaginable stretch of time. Sharks were gliding through the oceans before there were trees standing on land, before the dinosaurs arrived, and long after they vanished. More than 400 million years of refinement went into the creature beneath your feet. It is not a mindless killing machine. It is one of the most exquisitely tuned hunters this planet has ever made, and you were never the thing it was tuned to find. Which carries us back to that number, the one that should haunt us far more than any film ever did. Fewer than 10 of us in a year, around 100 million of them. In 2023, the entire world recorded 69 unprovoked bites and 10 deaths. In that same window, we hauled sharks out of the water by the tens of millions, for their fins, for soup, as unwanted catch in nets set for other fish. Whole populations have collapsed by more than 70% in half a century. Let that land. In the long story of sharks and humans, only one of the two species has been systematically hunting the other, and it is not the one with the fins, so picture yourself back there. Arms folded, legs hanging, the sun on your back, and that shape rising toward you out of the blue. It is not a monster that has decided to eat you. It is an old, nearsighted animal, squinting up at a silhouette, trying to answer one simple question: what are you, with the only tool it has ever owned? And nearly every single time it looks at you and it turns away. The most dangerous predator in that water was never the one with the teeth. It was the one holding the board.